Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, last session we learned about variables, right? JavaScript variables. We learned about JavaScript variables in variables. So, we discussed about how to configure the variables and define them, right? So, in that, configuring variable contains three phases. We learned variable configuration. We have declaring a variable, assignment. Another one is initialization. What is initialization? At the time of declaring, sending a value, assigning a value is called as initialization. Next, variable keywords. We have three. One is var, another one let, another const. What is difference? Var is what kind of variable? Function scope. Let and const are block scope. Var and let will allow declaring, assigning and initialization. But const allows only initialization. Var allows shadowing and hoisting. What is shadowing? Shadowing is redeclaring same name variable within the scope. Redeclaring same name variable within the scope, that is called as shadowing. Another one, hoisting. Hoisting means using a variable before declaring. That means declaration or initialization can be anywhere. That is hoisting. Which keyword supports hoisting? Var. Let and const will not support hoisting. It will not support even shadowing. Shadowing and hoisting, these are not supported. Okay. Next, important one more concept we discussed about global scope. Global scope for variable. So, if you want to access variable from any function, then where it must be declared? I told you a point. So, to access from any function, it should be declared. It should be declared in module scope. Module scope means outside function. Whatever the scope is present, it is called as module scope. Right? Next. Another important is we learned how to declaring global variable inside function. Can we declare global variable inside function? Yes, by using window keyword, by using window object, we can declare global variable inside function. These are all very important points for interviews. So even you are attending advanced technologies interviews also, these kind of questions are asked in interviews for fresher. Means suppose you are learning React, Angular like technology and going to interviews. In those technologies interviews also, these questions are asked because they are JavaScript based technologies. People who are learning Angular, React, and applying for jobs on Angular and React, they also have to face these questions. That's the reason you need to be perfect in understanding all this. One more important now is, after knowing all this, we have to know another variable naming. So when you are giving a name for a variable, some important rules are present. The rules are nothing but what are the rules for configuration. 1 second. Yep. Okay. So let's see. Variable naming is nothing but when you are giving name for variables, what are the basic rules, right? The first important is variable name must start with alphabet, or underscore. It must start with alphabet or underscore. Mandatory that it must be only either alphabet or underscore. So variable name can have numbers, but cannot start with number. That means, for example, where I am giving some variable name, variable name some price. So this is correct. I am giving variable price 2022. That is also correct. We have variable name 2022 price. So this is invalid. So we given like var underscore 2022 price. This is valid. You can start variable name with underscore, but you cannot start with a number. Cannot start with a number. You can start with underscore, or you can start with an alphabet. And very important is, don't use special characters in variable. Don't use any special characters in variable. Only underscore allowed. Understood? No other special characters, dot, dollar, percent, or any another special character. In variables, use only these. So that means you cannot give a variable like price dot 2022. This is invalid. You can write var price underscore 2022. That is valid. You can do like this. Don't use any other symbols, because compilers will face problem while dealing with some special characters, right? That is important. So another important is, when you are dealing with variables and working with the variables, here you need to know, generally when variable names are given, name can be maximum 255 characters long. Name can be maximum 255 characters long. You cannot give more than that, lengthy names. So variable name, when you are giving, its maximum length can be 255 characters, not more than that. So next important, so don't use any keywords as variable names. Don't use keywords as variable names. That means like var for, this is invalid. Because so like var some switch, that is invalid. Because these are keywords. For switch, in so many keywords we will learn, you cannot use those keywords for variables. So these are already used by language. You cannot use those keywords, right? Another important while working with variables is, while developing, so as much as possible, use camel case. Already I told you, na? Camel case I told you while working with forms. Camel case means, suppose var some txt name, like that. That means use camel case for naming variables. So when you are dealing with variables, these are all basic rules. These are all basic rules. Here, one more point is, we have a tradition. Tradition is actually, whenever developers give variable name starting with underscore symbol, is to define that it requires further implementation. It requires further implementation. Variable name starting with underscore is to define that it requires further implementation. Means that is a tradition actually. That means, for example, when we give here var underscore product name, underscore product name like this. It means that for a developer, it means that this variable is not finished. It, it, it will be set with a lot of other attributes in future. That means it will be set with lot of restrictions in future. It will be set with a lot of restrictions in future. That means it is further implemented. That means it is not final. Later we will add some functionality to that variable. That is tradition. That means whenever a name starts with underscore, that is developer's tradition. Not mandatory. You can give anything, but developer's tradition is that if it is starting with underscore, that means it requires further implementation. That you will see in next levels, how that implementation happens. You will understand. Initially, these are the basic things. Whenever you are naming variables, these rules you have to remember. You have to name the variables as per these rules. So, variable name must start with only alphabet or underscore. Its maximum length can be 255 characters. Don't use any special characters or anything else other than underscore, right? And don't use any keywords for variable names. Another tradition is actually variable name. Traditions I am telling now. Previously we discussed rules. Tradition is variable name must speak what it is. It must speak what it is. Variable name must speak what it is. That is important. Variable name must speak what it is. What it is means, the meaning of this is, when you give a variable name, by seeing the name itself, the developer should be able to understand what is present inside it. That means without seeing the value of variable, by seeing the variable itself, he must be able to understand the value. That means generally in a variable, different values are stored. Generally developers in a project, some developers design some content and pass that to other developers. Those people will continue. That means you are not the person who are building end-to-end application. Team-wise data is designed and strongly typed language. That means, what does that means? JavaScript variables cannot restrict data type. JavaScript variables cannot restrict data type. That means you can store any type of value. They can't restrict. That is one drawback. Actually, several programming languages are strongly typed. Strongly typed means they can restrict the data type. But JavaScript is not strongly typed. If anybody asked what is difference between strongly typed, strictly typed, I explained the difference now. Strongly typed is about data type and strictly typed is about coding standards. It is about coding standards. So here, if I declare a variable X and into that I initialize 10, that means now X is a number. X is a number type. But what I do is, later into X, if I send some John, actually in other programming languages, it will not allow, but in JavaScript, it will. That means X is changed to string type now. That means there is no restriction. It is not safe. It can change into that type. That means any type of data can be stored in a variable. That is the meaning of not strongly typed. JavaScript is not strongly typed. So in that case, you have to face a lot of problems in coding. Whenever you are writing logic, you are asking user to enter some number. Whether he entered a number or not, we have to verify through code. If it is strongly typed language, we don't need a special code to verify. Automatically variable will reject the data if wrong data is coming. But in JavaScript, it is not like that. So JavaScript variables are not strongly typed. That is one problem. Another point is what kind of data we can store. What is the data type allowed in JavaScript? Actually, JavaScript data types are classified into two types, into two groups. JavaScript data types are classified into two groups. We have primitive types and we have non-primitive types. Primitive and non-primitive types. So JavaScript data types are classified into primitive types and non-primitive types. What is difference between the primitive and non-primitive types? We will see. First, we have to understand about primitive types. First, we will see primitive types. We'll see primitive types. What is primitive type means actually? Primitive type is nothing but first important. Primitive types. So primitive types are immutable types. Immutable types. Primitive types are immutable types. Immutable means you cannot change their structure. Immutable means you cannot change the structure. You cannot change the structure. That means they have a fixed range for values. They have a fixed range for values. You cannot change. That means, for example, see, let's go to the project. Here, one example is, suppose here, I am defining here, yeah, let's go, yeah. Our project, yeah. Now in this, I am just declaring, means I am just showing you one simple example, yeah. So here I am defining the types. That means, suppose I said var x equal to 10, means I am trying to store a number. Actually, number is a primitive type. Number is a primitive type. And we are saying that we have a fixed range for values. Primitive type will have a fixed range. Now, if I ask which number I can store in X, what do you say? Which number I can store in X? Any number? Not any number. There is a range for that number. That means you cannot say that I can store any number. You can't store any number. We have a range for number. What is the range for number? I will show you here. See, document.write I am just using here temporarily. Just observe that here min is equal to, so number dot min safe integer, and max is equal to, I'm just showing you what is the minimum and maximum. Okay, observe here, this is the minimum and maximum range of number you can store. That means in JavaScript you cannot store a number less than that minimum value. You cannot store a number more than that max value. That means you cannot say that any number we can store. You can't store any number. There is a range for that. Now, if anybody asks like, can we change this range? I want one more extra. Can we change this range? You cannot. It is fixed. That is why they are immutable. Immutable means, don't think that many times people have a confusion. Generally, when you ask what is immutable, then people say value cannot change. Not value. It is not value. It is structure. Value can change, but structure cannot change. Immutable is about not changing the value. It is about changing the structure. That means you cannot change the structure. It is fixed. You have to store within that. So, what is immutable types? Means you cannot change the structure. They have a fixed range for values. And very important, they are stored. They are stored in memory stack. They are stored in memory stack. Memory stack means actually stack uses last in first out mechanism. Last in first out mechanism. So it uses last in first out mechanism. That means the last value goes in. That is the first value comes out. That is the reason you seen where x equal to 10, x equal to 20, x equal to 30. So what is the value of x? That means the last value goes in. That is the value that comes out first. That is stack. And very important. So JavaScript primitive types. JavaScript primitive types are, we have one number type, we have string type, we have boolean type, we have null type, and we have undefined type. These are all primitive types. JavaScript primitive types are these. We have a number, we have a string, we have boolean and under. Who is that at the back talking? Right. So here we have number type, string type, boolean, null and undefined. These all are primitive types. That means they have a fixed range. We can exactly know what is present. So one by one we will see. Number means what we can do. Actually, first we will see number type. Number type. Number type, it is used for numeric values. Number type is used for numeric values. Numeric values we use number type. And very important is JavaScript number can be, it can be signed integer, it can be unsigned integer, it can be integer, it can be floating point, it can be double, it can be decimal, it can be exponent, it can be binary, it can be hexa and it can be octa. These all comes under number category. This all comes under number category. That means in JavaScript, number means any of these. Number means any of these. These all are numbers. Signed integer means have a sign negative. These are negative values. Unsigned integer means positive. Positive values. That is unsigned. Floating point means maximum 2 integer values and maximum 2 fraction values. 2 fraction values. If more than 2 integers, then it is called double. More than 2 integers and having a fraction means it is called double. If it is more than 4, that means more than 3 and it is having a fraction, then it is called decimal. Fraction can be any number of fractions you can have. This is called decimal. Up to 2 float, up to 3 double, more than 3 decimals. That is considered as decimal. Exponent means 2e3. That is exponent. Exponent can have e. Actually 2e3, 2 into 10 to the power of 3. 10 to the power of 3. That means actually this is power of 3. 10 to the power of 3. That means it will be 2000. That is exponent. Exponent can have e. E represents exponent. It's a number. We can have binary values. Binary values usually will have a B character, 0B1010. This is actually binary for 10, binary representation for 10. So we can have exponent, we can have binary. We can have hexa values. Hexa values you know already. So hexa values value range from 0 to F, 0 to 9, 0 to 9 numbers and A to F. That means you can have a hexa values. Hexa values can be there. So hexa values can be there. Later you will learn how to use these hexa values and work with these hexa values, you will see. Already we learned color ranges now. 6 character color range of hexa values we learned. Actually octa can contain O. Octa can contain O. Where to use these octa values also I will tell you. We will learn about them later. Hexa, octa, binary, where we use them. But B, E, F, O, all these comes under numbers. Numeric type. Usually numbers type is that. That means any of these are considered as what? Numbers. Any of these are considered as numbers. Okay. This is technically number type. That means how you configure the number type and define the number type. Next, while working means I will show you here. See, you can see. Suppose I am declaring a variable where some price is equal to, I am storing 2e3. That is a number. That is a number. I will print document.write price is equal to whatever price. And you can see that price value, it will print 2000. That is number. For example, I typed like 0B1010. So that is binary type. That means actually it binary 10 represents 10. These you will see and understand later how to use them. But this all comes under what? Number type. So number can be signed, number can be unsigned, it can be float, double decimal, it can be exponent, binary, it can be hexa, and it can be octal. These are all types, number types. Technically, we can store any of these, and JavaScript will recognize them as numbers. Here, now so many points you need to know is actually JavaScript allows to convert a string into number, JavaScript allows to convert a string into number if it is starting with numeric. It is starting with numeric. Actually, to convert a string into number, we have to convert a string into number. To convert a string into number, generally, we need, why to convert, I will show you. We will discuss that. We need two methods. Parse int is a method, and the parse float is a method. When you are dealing with JavaScript with HTML, from HTML, whatever you send, that will be in the form of a string. Even you send a number, it will be a string. So for example, let's see now here, one simple. So we need this floating regularly. Now in this page, we are designing, in this page, we are creating like this. In this page, I am designing a simple data list and data term. I will give here as select quantity, and here we will put a drop down and with an option, and this is 1, another option is 2, another option is 3. Like this we define. So here what we are doing is, suppose, so I will give here, I am giving a button, say submit. Okay. That means this is the presentation we are having. We have quantity and submit. Now what should happen is, when user submits the quantity, I need to add one more to that quantity and display message. That means whatever quantity they selected, to that one more we need to add. Just roughly I am defining. So what we will do is, on this button click, on click, I will say calculate, or say submit click, simply submit click. Okay, I put a paragraph below. Okay, now we have to write a script. In the script, we have a function submit click. On submit click, first we are collecting variable, that is quantity. Document dot get, there is no ID. Query selector, what is it? Select dot value. Select is a drop down value. Okay. Now I am doing like this. I am printing document dot query selector. Query selector, I am accessing paragraph dot inner HTML. So quantity here, quantity with with one offer, that means with one additional offer. Additional offer, that means here we will define the option, that is, what is it? Quantity plus 1. So quantity with one additional offer, that means adding one extra to that quantity, whatever you selected, we are giving that. That is quantity plus 1. Okay, that means now I will select here 2. Quantity plus 1. 2 plus 1 means how much? 3. But when I submit, it says 2 1. That means you are selecting a number, but it is treating it as a string. Everything from a form is a string. Text box value, checkbox value, radio value, drop down value, number value also a string. Because when you mention like input type is text. When you write value 100, that is string only. When you put in a double quote, it is an string only. So whatever you input from any form, it is always a string. Then managing calculations on that is difficult. We have to convert the string into number. For that we need parse techniques. So what is the parsing technique here? Parsing technique is here. We have to take the quantity. Already we are taking the quantity. And this is the value. Value is what type? String. You see, it says string type. Value is string type. We have to convert this into number and store inside it. Or here, while adding, convert and add. Anywhere you can do it. While collecting itself, you convert it, or while adding, convert. If I convert while adding, later somewhere else I am adding again, then again I have to convert. That is the reason better what you do. While collecting itself, we will convert. So what we will do here, this value is converted by using parse int. Parse int, what the string value, whatever value is coming. Document.query selector, that value is converted into number. You can see it is number now. Quantity is number. Now the problem is solved. I selected some 2, then I submit. It will be here. Where it is, we need this number expression, right? Yeah. Now what will happen here? I selected the quantity and submit. It will say 3. Any quantity you selected and say submit, it says 4. So without converting into a number, you cannot handle. So it is compulsory that we have to convert it into number. Then what is parse float? For example, suppose these values are like 1.5. This is like 2.5 and this is like 3.5. Now I am selecting here the value 2.5 plus submit. It says 3 only. Because you are using parse int, it will ignore fractions. If you are having a floating double or decimal, then you should not use parse int. What you have to do? You have to use not parse int, you have to use parse float. You have to use parse float. That means now I am selecting this and defining submit. Then it will get that 3.5. So that is very important, whether you use parse int or you use parse float. If the numeric value If the numeric value is a floating point having a fraction, then use parse float. Otherwise, parse int. Converting into number is very, very important. Otherwise, lot of calculations will go wrong. This is one example. Okay. Another important point while working with numbers is you need to know is how to verify. So input numeric input number type or not. Input value is number type or not. How to verify input value is a number or not? Because you asked number and he is not entering a number. Then we have to verify is it a number or not, and based on that we need to display a message. So for that JavaScript provides, this is the question, and for that JavaScript provides a method by using a method called isNaN. isNaN is not a number. Is not a number. So NaN is not a number. So we have to verify by using isNaN. Then display the message is not a number. So for example, this is very important because we don't have type restriction. Then we need this one. For example, see, I will add another one here. Let's see another example here. I am using a simple data list, data term age. Data definition input type is text. And ID is txt age. Here I am defining another data definition. In that we will put ID as LBL age, that is label age. Here we are adding one button. Let's put a button as submit. So when age is submitted, I have to verify whether they submitted number or not. If it is not number, I should show error saying that please input a number. So then what we will do here is we will write on click. On click is submit click. So we are writing a function here that is submit click. On submit click, we are first collecting here var age is equal to document dot get element by ID txt age dot value. By default, whatever you input, it will come in a string form only. Right now here we will verify. So if first we will collect the LBL age also. Document get element by ID LBL age. What is this LBL age? LBL age is a data definition. Data definition. Okay. We are verifying if is NaN is not a number. What is not a number? Age is not a number. Then LBL age dot inner HTML, we should display age must be a number. Age must be a number. Otherwise, LBL age dot inner HTML. So we will put empty. That means don't show any message. Or we can say age valid, verified, something. So here we are entering here. I am entering some number. And here I am entering some string. And click on submit. Age must be number. So if I entered correct age and click it's okay. If anything is not entered, suppose I am using alphabet, then it says age must be number. Right? It is verifying and it is displaying that content. So that is actually how age is configured, defined. Means numerical values, how to verify the numbers. So we can verify numbers by using what is NaN. Now here, this is one option. That means, is it a number or not? We are verifying. This is example. In many interviews, some questions will be given to you like this. So one question is, what will be the result? The result for, here I am using where result is equal to, here parse int. I am giving here a 10. It is a string type, parse int string plus. So parse int 20 ABC. What will be the result? First one is a string 10. It is converted into number. Second one is a 20 ABC. It is a string. ABC is not a number, but 20 is a number. So what will be the result here? The result will be 30. The result will be 30. Why? Because these parsing methods, they can parse any string into a number if it is starting with number. Up to number occurrence, it can parse. Once string occurrence came, that means it can parse up to 20. After string came, it will stop and it will ignore it. Then it is not an error. It will ignore it. Then it is not an error. It is not an error. It will work successful. Its result will be how much? 30. For example, see now. Let's keep this directly. And you see here, I am configuring a script and I am using document.write. So result is equal to whatever the result. Now you see here, I am printing that. Then it will say result 30. Result 30, it is working fine. That's what it can manage. So even that means if it is starting with a number, then only it can parse. For example, now in that case, suppose what will be the result for? Suppose 20 ABC and 40. Once the number is finished, string starts, it will stop. It will ignore everything after it. Even after that a number comes also, that is also ignored. That means that 40 is not considered now. So then what will be the result here? The result will be what will be the result here? Result will be 30 only. Here the result will be 30. Now, for example, what will be the result for suppose ABC 20 or 30? What will be the result for this? what will happen to the next one? That means 10 plus 0. Why it is 10? After 10 plus there is one value now. It will ignore converting. If it will ignore converting, but it will use that value. It will ignore converting, but it will use that value. 10 plus ABC 20, it cannot add. That means this will return. That means it will return NaN. NaN means it says that not a number. So you are trying to convert this is not a number, because when it can convert as a number, only when it starts with a number. If it starts with an alphabet, it is not a number. It is not a number. And anything you cannot add with not a number. Anything you add with not a number, it is not a number. That means here, if I define ABC 20, then ABC 20, you can see here it is not a number. The result will be NaN. These type of questions are asked in interviews. That means interviews means this is generally in test. When you go to MNCs and other companies, first they will conduct a test. In the test, these kind of questions will be there. That means they will give a syntax and they will ask for this syntax, what will be the result? They will ask, what is problem in this syntax? Is there any error in this syntax? Is there any difference? So you need to know that. That means when you are practically working, you need to know error and error cause. That is important. Why that error came? What is the reason for error? Solution later. First you should know why that error came, then solution will automatically come. Right? You have to first able to understand the error. Then you can solve the error. So this is very important while working with numbers and conversions. So converting a string into number can be done only when it is starting with a number. It must be a numeric value starting with number. Any string value you cannot, right? That is. For example, that means now suppose, what will be the result if I am not converting? If I am not converting, I am just using. So this is 10 plus ABC. What will be the result for this? I am not converting. 10 is number. Then obviously it will be concatenation. It will be 10 ABC. That is concatenation, right? If we are parsing this, then the problem will be there. That means if we are parsing this, then problem will be there. That means here, if I say result for, so parse int ABC, understand? Now if I do like this, what is the result for this? What is the result for this NaN? It is not a number, These are important, right? This is all under which category? This is all under the category of what type? Number type. So parsing, converting the numbers and verifying is it a number or not. And actually, one more important you have to know is, so number type is derived from number number class. It is derived from a number class. So if you want to know about number, so then you can get the information by using that number class. That's what I showed you previously. So number dot, we can use min safe integer. Am I right? Integer. What it will do? It will get the minimum numerical range. Similarly, we can use number dot max safe integer. It is going to return the maximum number. So minimum and maximum range of number it is going to return. That is what actually it can handle. This is basically how the number types are handled. In the primitive types, this comes under the category of number, right? Next, important, we have other data types: string, boolean, null, and undefined. That we will see in next session, right? Monday we will see that, right? And in Monday session, we will start string type. It's a very big concept. It will take at least 2-3 sessions only for string, because a lot of string validations functions we have to learn. All that comes under string type. That we'll see on Monday. Okay. Right.